Washington football. Woo! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am your host, Kyle, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Michael Hall and Michael Reed. But we are also joined by very special guest, Nathan Coleman, contributing writer for Full Press Coverage. Thank you for joining us today, Nathan.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely, sir. This is a spectacular episode to talk about because, look, the Washington football team became first in the NFC East yesterday with a commanding and dominating win, 41-16 over the Dallas Cowboys. So let's get right into it, fellas. I want to talk about the MVP of the game. Reed, I'll start with you.
Oh, that's an easy one. I mean, Antonio Gibson for me. I mean, the guy, he's just been a Cowboy killer so far during his first two games against that team. He had 3 touchdowns over 100 yards again. He has a total of 243 yards and 4 touchdowns on 40 carries against the Cowboys in 2 games. He just showed out on primetime, and it was great to see him have a national breakout game.
Yeah, and I know Nate has a great one for me. So, Nate, who's you?
This is going to shock you guys because I'm actually going to talk about defense and not offense, but I'm going to go with my boy Tim Settle. I know he's kind of an unsung hero, but he's got 4 sacks now on the year. That's tied with A.J. Watt. That's tied with Sue. Wow. That's tied with Clark. But get this, he's done that on 96 snaps. Those guys all have over 270 snaps to get 4 sacks. So he's as efficient as possible.
He's winning his one-on-ones. One-on-ones.
Yeah, and I was lucky enough earlier today to get interviewed by Andy and Maurice of the DC Tweet Team podcast. A lot of congratulations to them. Julie Donaldson was wearing their sweatshirt this morning in an Instagram post. Lots of credit to them. They've been doing a great job. But I picked Morgan Moses, and the reason why I said that is because I saw him all over the field yesterday, making plays, leading the way for Antonio Gibson, Peyton Barber, and J.D. McKissick. And this isn't Madden. Switching from the right side to the left side is very hard to do. There's a lot of minute details that go into it, and he is showing that it's like an easy transition for him that only speaks to how good of a player he is, his work ethic to be able to have that kind of skill set to transition over to the left. I thought Morgan Moses deserves a lot of credit, in my opinion. What about you, Hall?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm going to go with the low-bearing fruit. I'm going to go with the easy one. Go with Terry McLaurin. Obviously, it's not because he had 92 yards receiving. It's not because, obviously, he was doing Terry McLaurin things. But, I mean, I guess you can call it Terry McLaurin things because he made the biggest play of the game, chased down Jalen Smith. Obviously, defense steps up, holds him to a field goal right there. By far, the game-changing play of the game. And, yeah, obviously, Terry McLaurin gets my MVP of the game.
Yeah, let's get right into it, Nate. I have to ask you, this has been a hot topic all over social media ever since this game ended. Was this game better than the game in 2012 against Dallas where RG3 threw all over that Dallas Cowboys defense?
I don't think it was better. I mean, that game is going to live on in infamy, especially how good of a team we had and the budding stars emerging. But this game was a close second. I mean, I don't think we expected another blowout like we did. And to finally hit 40 points, I don't think we've done that in over 2 years. So it was crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Antonio Gibson having 3 touchdowns in a game, first time a Washington player has done that since 2016. They haven't beat the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving in a long time. And what I see a stat that Antonio Gibson, first player to have 3 touchdowns on Thanksgiving since Randy Moss.
Yep,
Randy
and
Moss.
first rookie to do it
year.
since Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders, that sounds like fun.
Barry Sanders. Yeah, Barry Sanders sounds tight. No, first rookie to do it since Barry Sanders.
Yeah, and I have to ask your guys' opinions on this. Let's go to you, Nate. I have to ask you this. The Terry McLaurin chase down of Jalen Smith, I think that we all know just speaks to Terry McLaurin and who he is as a person, let alone as a player. My question to you, Nate, is do you believe that that was the changing point in that game, that was the reason that the Washington football team won?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be. It was a critical point. I kind of thought when he ran him down, I'm like, oh, man, if they can just stop them and get a field goal here, it's going to make a huge difference. And sure enough, I mean, I like that better than the DK Metcalf run back, although I don't think fans would agree with me, but
Right.
it's kind of a good microcosm of who he is as a person, as a player, though. I mean, that's the kind of guy he is. He's a technician as a route runner, but it's more than that. He's a leader. He's always working hard, and I mean, it's not surprising that he did something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So that being said, we always do our game beers and our blanket party. So let's do our game beers first, and I'll start with you, Reed. Who is somebody that deserves to have a game beer to kick their feet up and enjoy the night?
Well, I mean, we all kind of went over the players of the game already, so I'm going to pick somebody a little bit different. I'm going to go with Chase Young. Chase Young putting together 2 back-to-back very good games. Finally got back on the stat sheet with a sack. I know he's just fired up. You could see it. Chase Young loves Alex Smith so much. I feel like that he's putting out tweets about him, but anytime anybody even hit Alex Smith, Chase Young was ready to go out there and fight him. Like Chase Young was just that kind of guy. And so I'm going to go ahead and give a game beer to Chase Young. He hasn't had one from us in a little while, but he's worked his ass off on 2 consecutive games. He played fantastic again.
Yeah, mine is going to go to Cam Curl. The kid continues to show out. Brian Baldinger put out a little thread on him today, a little video montage of Cam Curl's plays from yesterday. And there was one play in particular where he's lined up in the strong safety spot, 15 yards off the ball. The Dallas Cowboys line up in 3 wide set on the favored to the right side. Cam Curl reads the screen to that side to CeeDee Lamb and closes so fast that it's only a 3-yard pickup and tackles CeeDee Lamb. Just showing the range, showing the speed, and then the tackling ability. Cam Curl, you deserve to have a game beer. Again, I'm not sure if you're old enough for it, but you deserve it. Kick your feet up. Enjoy your Friday, sir. You balled out. What about you, Hall?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Alex Smith only because the simple fact of everything he's been through. It's a little bit over 2 years. Obviously, it was like 2 years to the day when he found out about the infection and everything he went through. I know he didn't have a good game, like statistics wise. He had like a 22 like QBR or something like that, something like really low. He threw a touchdown, which obviously is a good thing. He turned the ball over, which he needs to cut back on because he was kind of known for not turning the ball over. But like I said, just for the simple fact that he's back on the field, he's strung together 2 wins for this team in a row. We haven't seen 2 wins in a row since I'd have to go back to probably 2018 when he was a starter again. So, yeah, I mean, my guy Alex Smith definitely gets a game beer. Just kind of step the performance up next time. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So, Nate, you have to finish it off with you, sir. Who's getting your game beer?
I think I'm going to have to go with Scott Turner, man. I don't know if that's
There you go.
he's not a player, but
it's a good one.
He's faced a lot of scrutiny, especially early in the year. I think he's grown as a coordinator, and he's dealt with a lot. I mean, you're dealing with a bottom 5 level skill positions. I mean, the talent is terrible, and he's done a lot. The offensive line isn't great, but I mean, he's still made adjustments and been flexible. And you can really – the big thing is, like, you haven't gotten to see his scheme all year because they're always playing in a deficit. So you don't really get to see his print on the offense until they're actually playing in a neutral game script or with a lead. And you got to see it today with some of the trick plays and a lot of play action on early down passes to running backs. So I was excited to see that. We might have, like, I don't want to like jinx anything, like knock on wood, Sean McVay, we could have a new Shanahan. Obviously he's in the same mode. He has that pedigree, but who knows, 2 or 3 years from now, you could be talking about a great young head coach somewhere else, or maybe here, who knows?
Yeah.
Anytime you see an offensive coordinator pull out a fumble rooski and a tight end pass, then they're doing some pretty good things. I love seeing that from him.
Awesome.
Yeah, let's go to some key points in the game, fellas. Let's go to one in particular that we all, maybe not the consensus that everyone talks about, but a play in particular that to you was huge in the moment and was led to them winning the game. And I'll start with you, Reed.
Well, obviously, I mean, I think that the Terry McLaurin chase down was probably the play of the game, the turning point. But I'm going to go with just in the see, that's tough putting me on the spot like that one because everybody, we got to talk about the Terry McLaurin play. But I'm going to go with Antonio Gibson's final touchdown. I know we're already up a lot, but when Antonio Gibson just completely iced it, it was already over. But it just rubbing salt in the wound for Dallas fans, I think a little bit more was just – it felt so good to just be like, oh, look at that. That's twice now that we just stomped on you guys, and we're just going to rub it in. We're going to keep going. We're not going to stop. And I just love that feeling. Plus, he's on my fantasy team, so I like that. It's not really a turning point in the game, but it was a feel-good moment for me.
Mine is the 2 plays in particular, and they weren't really because of the Washington football team, but they kind of were. But it was the special teams fake punt that didn't get converted, and then the fourth down stops by the Washington football team defense. They showed out yesterday. I thought those were huge and crucial because it gained confidence that when the Cowboys stepped on the field that they weren't going to score, that we were going to stop them. We were going to make it really, really hard for you to be able to get down the field, and they showed that yesterday. And I thought that was a huge point.
What a terrible play call, by the way.
Yeah, horrible.
Where they were. And
we'll talk about it later. But Hall, what about you? What is a key play that you had in mind?
It's a key play. The defense didn't really do anything per se, but the key play for me was that CeeDee Lamb drop touchdown. Obviously, it came on right after the Jalen Smith interception, almost run back. Terry McLaurin stopped him. Obviously, that was a big turning point. But again, CeeDee Lamb was a guy that I thought was going to have not really a huge day against us, but thought he'd have a pretty big day against us just because he was kind of getting that connection with Andy Dalton. He was kind of finding his groove as a wide receiver in the NFL. And yeah, for him to come out again and kind of lay a goose egg against us was really great to see. And like I said, defense didn't really do anything per se on that play, but just for the fact that they were kind of in his face, broke the play up after the fact, that was kind of the not really turning point, but the key play. It was third down also, so that's what got the field goal. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, what about you, Nate? Let's finish this off here.
Yeah, I mean, usually games never come down to just one play, but if I had to pick one, I guess that was big for me was the first scoring drive of the game, methodical drive. And this, a lot of times team to score, they have to have methodical drives. And the reason for that is because they don't have great playmakers that can create on their own. So they have to, they have to convert a bunch of third downs. But for that drive to be capped off by that Gibson touchdown, that was huge for the offense. And that kind of set the tone for the rest of the day that they were able to sustain drives and keep it going.
Yeah, and so, Nate, you being a Washington fan as well, I have to ask you, Ron Rivera today opened his press conference by remembering Sean Taylor and his time here in Washington. So I have to ask you, sir, what is your favorite memory of Sean Taylor?
I mean, I think most people always point to the Pro Bowl where he knocked out
Brian Moorman.
Yeah, I always think of the Cowboy games. I mean, he's had some hits on Joey Galloway, and there are a few of them where he just knocked the player out. But I mean, yeah, he's probably still my all-time favorite player, and such a tragedy. But I think it's cool how all the younger generation of players still honor him and still know who he is. Like, it kind of speaks to the testament of the type of person and player he was.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to tell you, man, my favorite one is the field goal at the end of the game against the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. It gets blocked. You see 21 scoop it up. You see his face mask move to the side. You're immediately thinking, oh, there's 15 more on that. And they end up getting the field goal. I mean, that was such a huge point, and it just spoke to Sean. Like, whenever Sean was on the field, you always had a chance to win the game. And I think that really speaks to who he was. Do you guys have one, Reed or Hall?
Oh, yeah. You could think of so many Sean Taylor memories.
But what is your favorite, though, man?
That's what I'm doing, Kyle. So shut up for a second. So my favorite one has to be the playoff clinching fumble return for a touchdown against the Philadelphia Eagles. Sean Taylor, he did that multiple times, and also when he intercepted Brett Favre during his final season to put him as the all-time interceptions leader. Picked him off 2 or 3 times in that game, I believe. Just a fantastic player. Always changed the game.
Yeah, I mean, mine was obviously the scoop and scores because those are game-changing plays. That just shows how good of a player you are especially on defense. To find the end zone as much as he did was just a testament to the great player he was, how athletic he was, how smart he was as a player. But yeah, definitely my favorite of all time has to be the scoop and score against the Eagles. I mean, that's just one of the most iconic plays in Redskins history. And for him to have such a short career and make one of the most iconic plays is just a testament to the type of player he was.
And then he did it the next week in the playoffs against Tampa.
Yeah. As Nate, you being a stat guy, I have to ask you.
Last time we won a playoff game is
it was one of the worst statistical games too. Yeah. Nate, you being a stats guy, I have to ask you, what was your opinion of Alex Smith's play yesterday? He was 19 of 26 for 149 yards. He threw a touchdown and a pick. What is your grade on Alex's game from yesterday?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of a typical Alex game.
Right.
He's a game manager. I understand he's had a few more turnovers, but you have to understand with turnovers, it's more about how many interceptable passes are you throwing. There's a variance and randomness to turnovers in general. So I wouldn't he had 3 turnovers in that first Giants game. It's I wouldn't worry about that. If he's consistent throwing the ball to the other team, and you're seeing that over and over again, it's an issue. But yesterday he did just enough. The one interception was completely on him. He had no reason to hold on to the ball. Just throw it away. And he did that a few other times, but I don't think it was a big game for him by any means, but I think he's capable of getting into shootouts when he has to. But he's the perfect bridge, stopgap quarterback for whoever we have next.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have to, before we move on, we have to do a blanket party real quick with you, Nathan, because little guy over here, Mr. Hall, had a prediction for the game, and he picked the Cowboys to win.
Oh.
I was gonna do it too, just because every time I pick us to win,
my earphones just went out like randomly.
Yeah, his earphones went out, so we were talking crap to him.
Let me try to fix it.
Yeah, of course.
That's what it was.
But Nate, to finish this off, sir, I have to ask you, what is your confidence level with Alex Smith going down to the end of the season? Because at this point, it's gradually, every game that we've seen, we're starting to feel better and better, right? So let me ask you, what is your feeling with Alex Smith towards the end of the season?
I think he has the highest floor of any quarterback on our roster, and probably right now he has the highest ceiling just because he grasped the offense and he can make the easy throws. But I think his issue when he was with Gruden, it's like he couldn't pick up the offense. Nobody could. But with Turner, a lot easier system, and it kind of it meshes with his strengths as a passer, which is the short and intermediate passes, the quick passes, and reading defenses. And I think that's something that Haskins kind of struggled with. But I feel comfortable with him, and I think you're seeing the evolution of Smith in the offense, but also Turner, and it's kind of coming together. And the same with Gibson. A lot of these young players, it's all starting to come together at the same time, which is perfect for momentum.
Yeah, and I was very surprised because I thought I was going to see Steven Sims get a lot more action yesterday, and we did not see his name very much.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to be a consistent thing, or do you think Steven Sims is going to be targeted more with different defenses that they're going to be facing?
Yeah, I mean, with Sims or a lot of these undrafted guys, you don't have the big pedigree. You can't really rely on them for a lot of production. I see Cam Sims, Steve Sims, Isaiah Wright, all those guys, Harmon, even Gandy Golden. I see them all as kind of like wide receiver 4s, wide receiver 5s. But Sims is fine. He had one huge game where he got wide open in the game. I think it was the penalty maybe on McLaurin where in the first quarter. But Sims ran like a wheel route and he was wide open, and Smith just missed him because he's trying to get a penalty. But I mean, he is open. He's a fine like slot receiver, but he's not going to build around him. Hopefully they address the position early in the draft. That's kind of what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, brother. Absolutely. All right, Nate. Well, I really appreciate you stopping by, brother, and giving us some great knowledge on the Washington football team and your input on what the game looked like, because we need some other different opinions. Given that Hall picked the Cowboys to win, my goodness, Nate, I can't thank you enough for taking time out again, brother. I'm glad that you were able to stop by.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You too, brother. Appreciate it.
All right.
All right, everybody. Well, that was a fantastic time with Nathan Coleman again. And Hall, I hope that you're back now. Do we have you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Turn it up a little bit. Yeah.
I don't know what happened to my headphones. I gotta figure that out later. But
Okay.
now I'm back.
Okay, well, turn up your microphone because your microphone sounds like crap. But we have to get into our fan questions of the week, and the first one that we have is from Jesse, good old friend Jesse, Jess Sis, on Twitter. He wants to know, which one was the more boneheaded call? Was it the pass on the 4th and 1, or was it the fake punt? I'll go read. I'll start with you.
It was the fake punt. The fake punt was honestly one of the stupidest play calls I've seen in a very long time, like in my life. Where they were on the field, knowing that their defense just hasn't really been playing too well, and just where I just don't understand it. I've been saying this for so long that Mike McCarthy is such an overrated head coach, and the fact that he okayed that he was like, oh yeah, you know what, we're close to their 20. We're close to our 20. Let's go ahead. Let's do it. Let's run a fake punt. And then just to run that and then just get tackled for a loss. It was just that right there was such a momentum changing play. Yeah. And it was just stupid. You just don't do that. You try to pin us deep and like, I don't understand that play call at all. I never will, but I'm so happy that it happened because it kind of just shows where the Cowboys are at right now.
Yeah, and it was you're absolutely right. It was a ridiculous play call because generally you make those play calls when it's like a short yardage situation, when you're kind of in their territory where it might be out of field goal range, or like statistically it doesn't make sense for you to kick that field goal, where in reality you can just get a couple yards.
But for you're close to your 20.
Yeah, you're on your like 20 basically. This offense is running a train on you essentially. Yeah. Why would you put them in a really good position? I'm right there with you. I thought the fake punt and then the play call of the fake punt, having an end around like for an extra 25 yards was absolutely ridiculous. A lot of credit to the special teams. Hall, let me ask you,
Khalif Hudson there.
Which one was the more boneheaded call, the pass on the 4th and 1 or the fake punt?
I mean, it has to definitely be the fake punt. I mean, 4th and 1, I gotta understand that you're trying to gain momentum. You have faith in your offense. You got a lot of weapons on offense, so I don't really mind that. Especially, I mean, as much as we go forward on 4th down, we don't nearly have as many weapons as them, so I don't got a problem with that. But yeah, definitely the most boneheaded play has to be the punt. I mean, like you guys said,
Galileo, bro.
Yeah, it's like, what were you thinking, dog? Like, you're inside your own 30. I think they're at the 24-yard line to be exact. Their own 24-yard line, not our 24-yard line. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't want to I'm going to condemn him. Yeah, Mike McCarthy, if you see his record without Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre as his quarterbacks, it's like he has a win percentage of like 13% or something like ridiculously low. Something crazy like that.
The guy was getting massages during team meetings.
Yeah, exactly. And then, I mean, look, Dak's a great quarterback, but they were still losing games with Dak as his quarterback, no matter how good he is. Some of his calls, I don't understand them. I know that in the offseason he was talking about, I went into the lab and I looked at the analytics and I became a new guy. Clearly, I think he was telling Jerry Jones whatever he wanted to hear to get the job.
That's what I said.
Yeah, because that offense looks pretty vanilla-ish to me. It looks like the same thing you were running back in like 2010 with Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
So,
and that offense, good. That offense should not be vanilla. They have way too many weapons. I don't care if they're down to Andy Dalton as their starting quarterback. Andy Dalton is more than capable of spreading the ball around and doing a good job. The fact that Zeke is even having it down here and he's not utilizing him at all, like it's just what is going on there? Like he is such a bad coach. That just goes to show it wasn't necessarily Jason Garrett, maybe. Yeah. Maybe just pick 2 bad coaches in a row. I don't know. But
yeah, look, Zeke was held to 10 carries and 32 yards. One of the worst showings. I know that he hasn't had a good season, but he had that one fumble, which was absolutely crucial that they were able to punch the ball out there. But I wanted to give a lot of credit to Scott Turner and calling the annexation of Puerto Rico, like Ron Rivera alluded to. And that was when I was said it to Andy and Maurice on the DC Tweet Team podcast. I thought that was a fumble at first. And then I saw McKissick pick it up and run. And I was like, wait, no way. And then I saw he had lead blockers. I was like, wait a minute. That's not for a fumble. What's going on? That was I thought they executed that play to perfection because the Cowboys had no idea.
No, and I don't understand how you're a professional football player and you get caught sleeping on that because you're taught to watch the ball. The center clearly snapped the ball.
Right.
They just got caught sleeping and weren't ready. And Alex Smith, it was a great play, and he sold it, and McKissick ran the other way. Granted, it only picked up 6 yards, but so the fact that worked in the NFL in that situation is incredible to me.
Yeah, it's like one of those games within a game where it's kind of like, if you're a Cowboys defender, just let it alone on the team, it's kind of like, damn, did they really just run a football play from a little kids movie back in like the 90s? And it actually worked on us?
But actually,
it's kind of like one of those mental things where it's kind of just like, damn, we really are that bad. Like,
Ron Rivera, 9 years ago against the Cowboys when he was with Carolina, ran the same exact play but actually got a touchdown on the play. So it was just kind of coming back to fruition, essentially. Now, Jesse, SYS has another question.
Full circle.
Yeah, Jesse has another question for us, and it's a good one. What is more impressive from yesterday's game, the defense or the running game? And I'll start with you, Hall.
You know what? I'll go running game just for the simple fact of, again, coming into the season, I said this on Twitter. Everyone thought we would be a bottom 3 team in the NFL. We would get maybe 2-3 wins again. We had the worst skill positions in the NFL coming into the season. And people were like, oh, it's going to take a while for Gibson to really get into the groove of things because he plays so much wide receiver. He's never really played running back as much. And here we are in week 12. Antonio Gibson is leading the league as a rookie running back with touchdowns. I'm pretty sure he's in the top 5 as far as rushing touchdowns goes in the league. And, yeah, we have Terry McLaurin who's leading the league in receiving yards right now. He's leading the league in yak right now. We have little minor step-ups by Logan Thomas here and there who's been a crucial red zone target, which I had high hopes for him coming into this. Not really high hopes because y'all had to sell me on him, but I had high hopes once you guys sold me on him as being a red zone target, which he definitely has become.
Yes, yeah.
So, yeah, definitely the running game. Getting back to the question because I kind of went on a turn right there. But definitely the running game because the offensive line, again, another group that's been maligned, kind of they're the bottom of the bottom of the bottom in the league, and they've come out these past couple weeks and done nothing but maul people in front of them.
I will say it's the defense, and the reason why I say that is because the first time they played the Cowboys, they ran all over them. It was similar fashion. That was kind of expected. And the running game didn't really come into fruition until later on in the game. So I will say the more impressive thing to me was the defense. The fact that they were able to bend but not break the entire game. That seems to be the MO of them. And they don't get worried. They don't get flustered when they get the ball moved on them. It's just like they're confident that they're defense is going to stifle you and going to make you earn these points because obviously they are really controlling these teams and these offenses. Andy Dalton and that offense was struggling to get down the field late in that game, obviously. What about you, Reed?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the defense too. It's not like the running game wasn't impressive. It was very impressive. But kind of to the points you said, Kyle, it's very interesting to see this defense bounce back, especially somebody like Ronald Darby, who gave up a very big pass play to Amari Cooper early on, and then he ended up bouncing back, and he actually had a decent game against them. A little bit later on, he broke up a couple passes intended for him. And then Montez Sweat, of course, with his first career touchdown. And by the way, Montez Sweat continues the trend. This is 3 straight weeks now. We have a Washington football team player rated in the 90s via PFF. Montez Sweat had a 91, 92 grade yesterday. And they just kind of did it in all facets of the game. Chase Young had the sack. It was just very, very good to see this defense kind of come around. And like you said, bend but not break. And then once the floodgates kind of opened, it was just game over.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Now,
well, look, only reason I didn't go defense is for the simple fact of everyone thought this was going to be a great defense. That's what the defense is supposed to do,
right.
especially to an offensive line like that. But no, I mean, look, you
I
guys
didn't want all of us to agree.
You definitely make great points. So. I
was gonna go running game too, but then I was like, well, let's just...
but y'all make great points though, so I can't, you know what I'm saying?
No, but the running game was super impressive.
It was.
I just like to be right.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Jesse. I appreciate the question. So let's move on to the Colonel. The father-in-law has a couple good questions for us. I think that we should discuss the 2-game streak. It's huge for the morale, and what does it mean for the team heading into the Pittsburgh game? Reed, I'll start with you.
I think that it's huge. I think that that's the best thing that you could ask for heading into this game. Obviously, this is going to be a tough game. Nobody's expecting Washington to have a fighting chance in this game. I personally do. I think that there is a chance that they could win this game. Will they? More than likely not, but they definitely have an opportunity to. This team is rolling right now. Granted, it's against 2 pretty bad teams. I will say that. But it's almost like a shooter, like when you're missing shots and sometimes you just got to see that ball go into the hole. You got to go make an easy layup and then you can start getting into a groove. You win a couple easy games. Okay, now you're rolling a little bit. Now you got a little bit more confidence. Now you have more confidence in your play calling and Antonio Gibson. Now you have more confidence in the defense and the pass rush and leaving your corners man on man with these receivers. So I think it's huge. Will they win? I'm not 100% sure, but I think it'll definitely be, it's a lot better than if they lost all morale.
Yeah, I agree with you. Colonel, I think it's good for them because, they have had so many of these close games where they come out in the losing end. And in these last 2 games, they have really dominated in the second half. And I feel like that's a building block for them and feeling confident. Now, I know that going into that game, I don't think it's going to really do much in the transition of the game because they realize they're going against one of the best teams in the NFL. And that they have to put on their A game to be able to do it. It doesn't matter what happened today. So I really hope that enough time will pass that they'll be able to be level-headed because the worst thing possible for a young team is to get overconfident and headed into against a very good team who's been together for many, many years. This is an old unit that has been playing together for a long time. And so those type of teams generally don't make that many mistakes. So you got to be on your A game. What about you, Hall?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think it's good for the morale, like in the moment, but as far as it carrying over into next week, it's giving the team confidence. It's giving them the confidence. All right, we can go out and we can compete with. I wouldn't say anyone because, like Reed said, it's been some pretty bad teams we've been playing lately. But again, it's the whole mental mind of it's any given Sunday we can come out and compete with anybody if we play to our level of competitive that we know we can play to. And like Reed said, I don't think that we're going to come out and win. But with that being said, this is also one of those games where it's kind of like, with the momentum we have, even though it's only been 2 games, it should be, honestly, to tell you the truth, we should be on like a 5-game win streak right now.
Right.
We should have not lost both of those Lions or Giants games.
Mhm.
Should have not lost to the Lions. We beat ourselves. So I think the team has a lot of confidence in itself, and the coaching staff has a lot of confidence in the team. And I think that it's going to kind of go the way of the Dallas game, where the Steelers are going to kind of overlook us because our record, because it's Washington. We always beat Washington. It is what it is. But I think that they can come out and kind of do some things. And look, no one expected us to beat Seattle whenever we went up there in 2015 with Kirk, and we came out with the W. So, never know. Any given Sunday.
That's true.
And I will say that the first 2 games that we had won, Ron Rivera gave very good speeches after the game and said, like, look, guys, this is who I thought you guys were. You guys came out and you guys did your thing. And I told you guys can play with anybody in the league. I see something special here. Then the next week they go out and lose. Then they go out and lose again. And then they win. And then same speech. And then they go out and lose. So for them to beat the Bengals last week, get that speech, go out there and then stomp the Cowboys on a short week, I think that's just going to help build their confidence up a little bit. But like you said, they can't get too cocky. But I do think that now they're going to definitely start buying into what Coach Rivera is saying.
Yeah, and now Colonel's next question, I think it's a phenomenal one. And Hall, I'll start with you first because it's about your boy. Gibson, is he as pivotal as McCaffrey was in Carolina? And if he's not right now, is it heading that way?
I don't think he's as pivotal, but I would say like in this offense per se, he's as pivotal because everything kind of like flows through him.
That's
just like
what
the
he
offense
means,
in Carolina kind of flows through McCaffrey. Yeah. So yeah, if he means that, then yes, I think he is pivotal to our offense in that manner. Obviously, whenever they drafted him, they kind of like brought him into that. He has that kind of Christian McCaffrey kind of esque like role where he can run the ball, catch the ball, kind of line up in the outside, mismatch, blah blah blah, stuff like that. So in that sense, yes, and in our offense, yes, but is he on McCaffrey's level? Obviously not. 'Cause that's like a whole nother like freak of athlete and freak of a running back. But I do think in time that he can definitely be up there with the great dual threat running backs that can run and catch the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what about you, Reed? Do you think it's heading in that direction?
I think it possibly could really ever be as good as Christian McCaffrey. I doubt it. I don't know, but Hall's right. Like the offense flows through him when he's rolling. When things are working out with him, then the offense is doing very well and they're rolling. The one thing is Christian McCaffrey was always more involved in the passing game than Antonio Gibson seems to be. Antonio Gibson, he's a phenomenal back in the passing game. Don't get me wrong, but when Carolina's offenses have been rolling, it's Christian McCaffrey has been like one of the best receivers in the NFL. And I don't know, but I do definitely see a similar role. And I think it is kind of trending in that direction where he is going to be the guy that this offense runs through. And I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, and I honestly think it's probably more beneficial to Antonio Gibson for him not to have as much of a workload as Christian McCaffrey did in Carolina. And I think that's a great point, Reed, where he's not asked to do that much through the pass. Exactly. Where J.D. McKissick actually takes that role and does it really, really well. So it kind of takes the weight off the shoulders of Antonio Gibson while he's getting better at pass blocking because that is one of his weaknesses. But look, the guy's coming off a 3-touchdown game. He is in the running possibly for the Offensive Rookie of the Year. He is blowing the doors off. And late in that game, the Cowboys just did not have a recipe for him. They did not have anything to stop him with, in my personal opinion. Now, let's move on to a discussion I think that we should talk about. I think it's going to be easy for us because we're Washington fans. But honestly, is Alex Smith the comeback player of the year? Hall.
Oh, man, we've been going ham in this discussion for the past like 2-3 days in our group chat with everybody. For those who know, I'm going to give a little backdrop. We have a couple of Steelers fans in our other group chat, like outside of our Burgundy Zone group chat, and they've been talking about Big Ben as a comeback player of the year, and Alex Smith has only played a couple games this year. How could he be the comeback player of the year? And it's Big Ben because he had Tommy John surgery, and look what he's doing.
They're undefeated.
Like, no. Like, for Alex Smith to even make an active roster in itself, he's the comeback player of the year. And look, did he get on the field because of injury? Obviously, yes. But that's only because we had a full off-season training camp, OTAs, all that good stuff, I'm almost 100% sure he probably would have been named the starter from day one. So with that being said, it would have been a whole body season worth of work. He would be comeback player of the year. But no, he's comeback player of the year just for the simple fact that he's on our active roster and he's come back out and he's a starting quarterback in the NFL again.
Yeah, Brian Baldinger had a tweet earlier today about Alex Smith and then having Alex Smith win it every single year that he's playing in the league, and he's absolutely right. Everyone was saying the dude shouldn't even be playing football. Everyone, when the injury happened, everyone said, I don't think this guy will ever play football again. Not only is he playing football again, he is winning games, and not only is he winning games, he's breaking career numbers, throwing for 390 last week. The dude deserves comeback player of the year. I don't think the win total has anything to do with it. I hate it whenever these awards get talked about, the win total gets attributed to the award. I don't believe that to be the case, especially in this, in my opinion. Alex Smith deserves the award, and he deserves to have it named after him. My opinion. What about you, Reed?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think that it's a question. And it's not even just us being biased because we're Washington fans. Literally, just about every analyst that I've ever seen, as soon as Alex Smith even took the field, they're like, he deserves comeback player of the year already. Just a simple fact that he's playing in a football game again. The guy almost lost his leg. The guy almost died. And like, just watch the documentary if you haven't watched it. That is some heavy stuff. I don't think anybody ever expected him to win or to ever come back and play football again. And then he made the roster, and it was, all right, we're seeing something here, and then he ended up getting on the field. It's incredible. Yes, he deserves it.
Yeah, and that being said, I just got a DM from the Washington football team. There's a fans giving with President Jason Wright, and we're getting invited to ask a couple questions and share our thoughts with him at a roundtable. So that's dope.
When is that? Nice.
11:29.
Nice.
I got a message.
Breaking news.
I got to message them to get more details, but it looks like we're gonna be able to do that. I'm sorry for I'm not supposed to talk about that, but hey, just have them over live on air. What am I supposed to do? Wow, that's awesome.
Can't help it.
But honestly, dude, it should be Alex Smith, no doubt. Now that being said, I want to ask, what about Ron Rivera and Coach of the Year? Now that the Washington football team is number 1 in the NFC East and they control their own destiny, given what has happened with Ron Rivera taking over a team, going through a transitional process, sexual assault allegations, the name change, Coach Rivera gets cancer, but is able to overcome cancer, and then everything with the season and having his team winning and possibly winning the division. Reed, is he Coach of the Year?
I think that if everything goes right and they end up winning the division and the people who vote on it think the way that we do, then yeah, he should be. But I don't know if they will. I think it'll end up going to somebody like Brian Flores or Mike Tomlin. But I think you're 100% right. When it all boils down to, with all the stuff that he's had to deal with cancer, with all the allegations, with the changing of the name, with COVID, obviously every coach has had to deal with that. I know. But just inheriting a new team, having to install a new offense, a new defense, blah, blah, blah. I think that if they continue to do well, I think Coach Ron should 100% be in the running for that. But Willie, I don't know.
Yeah, I do believe that. I think that he does. I love Tomlin as a coach. I've said that for many years. I love like his mindset as a coach, where it's like the no excuses mentality. I think that's exactly right. The kind of mindset you have to be as a head coach, dealing with professional personalities. And I think that he's having a fantastic year. He does deserve to be able to have some
real fast. I have to take off real fast. I got James. There's something going on with him. I got.
Okay, buddy. I'll talk to you. I'll see you,
brother. Talk to you guys in a little bit. All right. I'll see you. Take it easy.
Bye. Yeah, and shoot. What was what was I saying, Hall?
You're saying that with everything going on, they should be the Coach of the Year in your opinion.
Yeah, and I love Tomlin and everything, but I just feel like Ron Rivera, with everything going on, he definitely deserves it because, like, everyone preseason, we like Reed just said, they were picking us to be one of the worst teams in the league, bottom third of the team. They're leading the NFC East. As bad as the NFC East is, I don't care what anyone says, they're still in the lead, and there's something to be said for that. Does he deserve Coach of the Year?
I mean, if I was the voter and I was giving out the award, yes, I would give it to him. Not just because I'm a fan, like a Washington fan, just for all the stuff that you and Reed just stated before, everything going off the field, and then what he's doing on the field with this team, which again was supposed to be another top 5 picking team again this year. But yeah, do I think he'll get it? Probably not, just for the simple fact of the Steelers are undefeated right now, and even if they finished with like 6 losses in a row to finish the season out, I think that it would go to someone like Brian Flores, who turned around the Dolphins, who were obviously like the last year's Jets. So yeah, I think that if it was me giving out the award, I would give it to him just for all the stuff he's endured, all the stuff that has gone on off the field, how he's handled it, how he's, like I said, turned this culture around, turning this team around slowly but surely. And like I said before, I do think that if we're on this 5-game heater where we would have won the 2 games against the Giants, the Lions game, Cincinnati, and now Dallas, I do think that he would be right in the running with a Mike Tomlin as far as like 1 and 1A. But yeah, it's Mike Tomlin right now, and then everyone else is kind of second.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I know that the wins total comes into it and everything. I get it. I understand, but I know that how the NFL works.
It's like your argument for it's like your argument for Watson, where it's kind of like he's playing like a top 3 quarterback right now. He should be in the MVP race, but you look at the record, they only have 4 wins. I don't know. So
right,
what can you do?
Yeah, what can you do? Absolutely right. Lots of credit to everyone on the Washington football team. That was a utter total win. They deserve all the credit in the world. They made everyone's Thanksgivings a lot better. And I was happy to see Jerry Jones blown in the press box. You see what he was
Yeah, he looked like he was about to cry.
Dude, he definitely did look like he was about to cry, didn't he? It looks like Reed is on his way back in. Hey, are you back in there, sir? Are you back? Are you okay?
I'm back.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, but I was just saying, coaches. I think he should be coach of the year. But dude, Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, dude. When is that going to stop? Calling Washington games, like seriously, dude. At that fumble, I'm telling you, dude. I was watching the live feed, and at that fumble of Zeke, you can hear Troy Aikman go, "Oh no." Like, how is that dude allowed to call these games? Like, what? Who okays this?
That's like having Darryl Green call a Washington football game on national TV. Like,
right.
Come on. Like, of course he's going to be biased. Especially Troy. It happens all the time. Like, come on. You know,
it's because it's Thanksgiving. They're the A team.
Yeah, and I love how all the national media now are talking about how bad the Cowboys are. Well, wait a minute. 2 days ago, you guys were talking about the Galileo watermelon thing and how big that was for the Dallas Cowboys and how that was going to turn the season for them and they're actually a good team. And what?
Right.
That changed real fast.
Exactly. That was my point on Twitter I made earlier. I was listening to 106 and watching all this other stuff on FS1 ESPN today, and nothing was about how Washington had a great game and how good they played on defense, and it was like all about, oh well, Dallas lost that game and they shouldn't have done the fake punt, and what is Mike McCarthy doing with his play calls, and it was never anything about, well, Washington, they really came out and like really just mollywopped them. It was like no. So that's why I'm just like, look, we're not a great team. We're not even really a good team. We're like a mediocre team on the rise to being a good team. Mm-hmm. Give us a little bit of respect. I mean, dang.
Right.
That's all I'm asking for, just a little bit.
Especially with where we were last year. And look, the Cowboys, they suffered a tragedy this week. We all know that's horrible. Prayers out to his family, everything that happened. But people were literally using that as they're going to come out here, they're going to be fired up, they're going to win this game handedly because they're better or they beat the Vikings, they're definitely going to be Washington, and they have a reason to. And then we win, and now people are like, well, I mean, they were grieving. So, what do you can't do that. It's like it can't go both ways, guys. Come on. You gotta, it can only be one or the other.
Yeah, and I saw all those the pregame shows all picked Dallas to do it, and then and then even at halftime, if you watch the halftime show, it's about Dallas. It's about the touchdown that they got. It's just it's so lame to sit here and watch them be on their knees for the Cowboys at any point in time when they have no reason to deserve it. The Washington football team literally kicked their ass yesterday for 30 minutes. It was so much fun to watch. That was such a great game. I'm glad that we witnessed it, and I do believe that it's better than 2012 in my personal opinion.
Oh, really? The only reason I would put 2012 over it was just because that was like the budding of RG3 in front of our eyes, and it was like, oh my God, this offense is going to be amazing.
But the only reason I don't is because they allowed the Cowboys to come back in that game. This game, it was literally they put their foot on their throat and were just like, nope.
Yeah. And well, I mean, obviously hindsight 2020, you would look back on that and be like, well, RG3 didn't really end up to be much, no, did he? So it wouldn't have really mattered. But no, I do agree. I just, anytime you stomp the Cowboys, it's a good feeling. But when it happens for the second time in a year, and that second time in the year is on
Sweep City, baby,
on Thanksgiving, it's a pretty good feeling.
Yeah,
Almost, where you at?
They had all the excuses last time. Oh, well, Andy Dalton got injured. Oh, this and that, and blah blah. Well, what was the excuse this time? Andy Dalton played the whole game.
Well, Dak was hurt, and
exactly.
and Mike McCarthy's our head coach.
Yeah.
So wait a minute, I thought you were just saying that Jason Garrett was your head coach, and that was the issue.
I said it to Chris Bryant on Twitter because he posted the video of Antonio Gibson's, I believe it was the 33-yard touchdown run that he had, and he waves to the Cowboys defender, puts up the deuces, and I was like, yep, there we go. He's in the Hall of Fame now, in the Fan Hall of Fame. He put up the deuces to Dallas on prime time, on Thanksgiving, and they whooped their ass. That's my boy right there.
Yeah,
that's why
my guy.
That's why I posted that from our Facebook account. that Cowboys fans, meet your new father, and he was on there. First of all, just the swagger that he had to do that, to wave bye knowing he was going to win, and on top of that, with the matching sleeve and gloves that were both the gold and yellow, but it looked so fresh. I was just all about it. I'm all about it. I'm all about AG right now, and he's really becoming a fantastic running back in front of our eyes. He really is.
He is. He's balling right now, and this defense is balling too. I know Darby was getting beat early on in that game, but I thought they did a good job in the second half, especially Montez Sweat. The athleticism for him to be able to come off the edge there, have the length to be able to jump that high, intercept it. And, like, the funny thing is he didn't even have possession yet, but he started running towards the goal line. Like, he knew he was catching the ball. His hands are so big. He was like, this ain't going. And then for him to get the touchdown, and a lot of credit to 50 Gut Blog on Twitter, they pointed out after they're celebrating, Montez Sweat throws the football away, and Ryan Kerrigan actually exits the celebration and runs to the end zone to get the football for Montez. So that was awesome of Ryan Kerrigan to do because he knew that Montez had to get that football.
Yeah.
So that was almost back-to-back weeks with the defensive lineman jumping up and swatting the ball and coming down with a pick. And Chase. I don't know if he would have pick-sixed it because we were so far away at that point, but could have got close.
Yeah. It was impressive. Montez Sweat, man, he had a very good game. Like I said, we hadn't had a player rated in the 90s on PFF in years. All of a sudden, with 3 straight years, we've had 3 straight weeks, we've had 4 different players rated in the 90s. So something's building here, guys.
Yeah, and I have to give a lot of credit. Logan Thomas, that throw that he had on the
was beautiful.
The trick play, like he had the composure, he sat flat-footed, he had good mechanics, everything, and it wasn't even like an easy throw, but he made it with such ease that you felt good about it. And then you see Terry, and he's in double coverage, and he comes down with the football anyway in bounds. I just thought great play call, great throw, and one hell of a catch.
Yes, that was fantastic, and you love to see that too. Like I said, anytime you see your tight end throw a pass, it's definitely creative, and I really like what Scott Turner's done lately. He put him in motion last week against the Bengals and had him do a quarterback sneak because just use his size. He let him throw a pass, and then he also ran the Fumblerooski type play, and it's just I like what he's doing, man. He's getting creative out there.
Yeah, and look, Logan Thomas is affecting the game and impacting the game in multiple ways. He's throwing the football. He's blocking exceptionally well. I was watching that tape from last week against the Bengals, and he was doing traps and just absolutely with no regard to his body and just running over the defensive line to be able to get these running lanes. And then for him to get the touchdown yesterday, Hall, they're in the red zone. You have to be able to show good footwork and quickness and sure hands. And that's exactly what he did. He turned around for the football, kept that inside open, and then went to the ground and caught that ball. A lot of credit to Logan Thomas. Ron Rivera talked about him in his presser today. That's how well he's doing. A lot of credit to Pete Honor for getting him up to speed because, dude, Logan is balling.
Yeah, you just mentioned it. Ron Rivera mentioned him in his presser today, saying that he's one of the guys that he's been presently surprised with. He's like really growing as a player. He's turning into a really great tight end. It's a great all around NFL football player. And like you said in the red zone touchdown, I mean, it just goes to show you that he still has that quarterback's kind of like mentality and that quarterback's IQ to kind of like box the defender out, open up, like you said, to the inside and just kind of only make it where Alex Smith can only throw it where it's only going to be a catch or incompletion. So, I mean, Logan Thomas, definitely, I said, hats off to you. I mean, going into the season, I was kind of blown that we didn't really go after a big name tight end. But again, I'm in the Ron Rivera boat where I'm pleasantly surprised, and I think he can be a staple for our team as definitely a tight end too, maybe even a low-end tight end one going forward.
Yeah, dude, he's a playmaker in my opinion. He does the dirty work. He's not the guy that's going to get a lot of recognition, but the work that he does is huge and pivotal to the game, and that's exactly what he was doing. I mean,
We get another tight end. We could definitely go back to the days of the Jordan Reed, Vernon Davis double tight end sets where we're just killing them in the seams. I mean, that was when the offense was humming back with Kirk. So yeah, it would be great.
and so much credit to the offensive line, man. I mean,
Yes.
we thought that losing Cornelius Lucas, that was, we were panic meter. We were all the way up. We were freaking out about it, and look at it. They are doing exceptionally well. They are not only punishing people, they're running the ball at ease. And I know they gave up 3 sacks on Alex, but it's a good front. It is what it is. But I'm just really impressed by them.
Yeah, especially shout out to Morgan Moses, man. Just he's been. I know everybody. Brandon Sheriff's a Pro Bowler, but Morgan Moses has been the glue that's held this line together. He has been the man. He looks like a completely different player this year. And for him, like you said, for him to switch from right tackle to left tackle, this isn't Madden. You're so, and for him to play right tackle as long as he did, he's so used to having a dominant leg, and then you have to go switch, and it's the opposite leg now that he's on the left side, and it's incredible, man. Everything's different on the left side, and he's doing a very, very good job. And I'm loving what I'm seeing from Morgan.
Yeah. And the one thing I wanted to say is my grade for Alex was actually going to be a B. I thought that he did a good job. And I know that Ron Rivera in his presser today asked by Scott Abraham that they still don't have an identity. And I disagree. I just feel like coach doesn't want to get overzealous, get overconfident with the team and everything. But Alex floating around that 181 touchdown area is right where he should be, because they've shown that if they throw for over 170 yards, if they can rush for over 125 yards, they're going to be in a very good position to win the football game, and that's exactly what Alex did yesterday. And it's funny because when you look back at the game and you see his stat line, you're like, oh, he only threw for that much? Like it felt like more.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. But Alex, he again, shout out to Alex. You did enough. You just feel so much more comfortable with Alex back there. Like it's almost like everything's going to be okay. I know he's made some mistakes, but people are saying players are saying that he learned this playbook so fast that he'll literally tell you what the defender is going to be doing and what you should be doing, how you should be reacting before the play. And it's incredible to me. Just his football IQ is off the chart. So you just feel confident with Alex back there that you're going to have a chance every week.
Yeah. I can't understate that enough. And a lot of credit to Wole. He said that. We asked that at the pod route little meetup. Who was the quarterback on the roster gave us the best chance to win? He said Alex Smith. And everyone was kind of like, huh? Right? He's absolutely right. As much as everyone wants to call him a check down Charlie, so those check downs are done on time and in rhythm, and they give you the ability. And it happened yesterday. Alex Smith threw the check down to J.D. McKissick on 3rd and 9, and he had the speed to get around the edge to get the first down. It can happen and it can work. It just depends on when you hit the check down. It has to be in rhythm. And that's exactly what Alex is doing.
That's actually almost exactly what I said on Twitter whenever I saw people complaining about, we need to push the ball down the field. Terry's beating his defender. I was just like, people are underestimating the amount of accuracy that Alex Smith has. And for him to hit his receivers, like you said, in rhythm, for them to get the yak is really what is important. Mm-hmm. Forget pushing the ball down the field. That's all good and dandy. Yeah, everyone wants to be like Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs. But if you can get your playmakers in space and get them yak like that, that's when the real offense. That's when you really move the chain. So yeah, shout out to Alex Smith. I would give him a C if it was me, just because he didn't put up the gaudy numbers. He had the turnover, but like you said, he definitely managed the game. And
right.
I mean, look, the dude's 8-4 as a starter with Washington. So I mean, look, it's a wins and losses league. Whether you win dirty, whether you win clean, whether you win ugly, a win is a win.
Yeah, absolutely. An honorable mention, Cole Holcomb led the Washington football team in tackles with 10. He had Brian Baldinger highlighted the one play where they're on the goal line, about, I think, 3 to 4 yard line, and they run a dive, and Cole Holcomb charges the A-gap, forces Zeke to the side, and him and Cam Curl gang up on Zeke and stop him behind the line of scrimmage. They had a phenomenal game yesterday, those two. They are some great young defenders, and the future is bright with those two, to say the least. All right, any parting words, fellas?
It's mullet season, baby.
Yeah, it is. I hope the mullet stays, dude, because he's playing on fire.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and he shows up against Dallas. Both games against Dallas, he's played very well. So you love to see that. I don't care if he plays terrible 14 games out of the year. As long as you show up against Dallas, for me, you're all right in my book.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't do that.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Well, check us out again on Tuesday. We are going to be interviewing Scott Jackson, the post-game announcer for the Washington football team. We're going to talk to him. Make sure you check that out. It's going to be a great show. We're going to be able to talk about the game, get some insight from the Washington football team, but also be able to preview the Steelers game that's happening that night as well. I think it got moved to Tuesday earlier today.
Yeah.
So they're going to be playing that same night on a short week. Same thing happened with Washington against the Cowboys, so it's not an advantage or disadvantage, to say the least. All right, everybody, I'm Kyle.
I'm Hall.
And I am Reed. That's
Yes,
all I got this week.
Oh, I was very surprised. I had a little hesitation there. All right, everybody, thank you so much. Remember, go like and subscribe on iTunes Podcast, Spotify, Google Pods. We are all over the place: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. All right, thank you, everybody. Washington football. Woo!
Peace.